We are live. Go ahead and mute your mic, brother.
Muted.
Yeah.
It's the road runner. Nigga.
You wild, boy.
Should I mix the off-white with the V-long? Sippin' Bel Air, mixed with the P-Tron. Fuck around and put some walk in a cream soda. Been that nigga since a youngin' on the seesaw. Randos walking up, they asking what the jeans cost me. Southwest, I'm just waiting on the lift off. Brody in the field, waiting on the kickoff. Running plays back to back, we the big dogs. All whites on my feet, I'm just kicking it. V-long for the T, feeling ignorant. With a nigga bitch in traffic, facing out the zip. Told her carry on the bag, you know she took the trip. All I do is trap, in love with taking risks. Southwest money man, love making flips. I can lead you to a bag, but will you take that trip? Really know about the bottom, cause I came from it. In the game, I'm a coach and a captain. Come invest team, show you how a backflip. Disappear and reappear, this shit magic. Pack Rican, this the third time I rapped it. Money team MO, we don't do capping. Out the mud, never switch, we the family. Outside your shit like Call of Duty, bitch, we camping. Back to back with this Drake, this bitch flashing. Should I mix the off-white with the V-long? Sippin' Bel Air, mixed with the P-Tron. Fuck around and put some walk in a cream soda. Been that nigga since a youngin' on the seesaw. Randos walking up, they asking what the jeans cost me. Southwest, I'm just waiting on the lift off. Brody in the field, waiting on the kickoff. Running plays back to back, we the big dogs.
What it do with my Fitbullykennels Behemoth Bloodline family. Y'all make sure y'all share this video out to a friend and tell them to share it out to another friend. Let's go ahead and get them shares going, y'all. Make sure y'all hit that like button when you come into the building. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. We are here with a special guest today. Go ahead and introduce yourself, good brother.
Well, I call myself T Fit Man with Fit Bully, so that's we gonna stick with roll with that Fit Bully TV.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If y'all don't know, man, y'all got to get over there and subscribe to this man's channel, man. He gives very, very full, in depth, good information when it comes down to these bull breeds. And man, I'm amazed. I like what I see, what you're doing over there, brother. Um, let's go ahead and jump right into it. What age did you actually get started with, dogs overall? What got you to get into the dogs?
When I was 13 years old, man, we had a German Shepherd. I talked my grandparents into getting German Shepherds. They originally had Beagles, and well, technically had pit bulls. But I got into it about them. Was obsessed. It was the closest thing to a lion I could own. And then from there, I did a litter with the German Shepherds with a guy named Deacon Long at church, and his dog Sandy. I'm never gonna forget that. She had a couple dogs, and I kept a German Shepherd named Tank. So we had a dog named Ringo. I was German Shepherd, then a dog named Tank, and then when I turned 19, I bought 5 pit bulls, and
Okay, okay.
then I started breeding there.
And what was your aim with the dogs? Like did you have a vision? Like what
Oh
what
wait,
what what did you want to accomplish with the dogs?
my papa was a hunter, and he was a super religious person. So one of the things he did was he put the gun down because he said he was obsessed with that gun. So the Bible says, "Put no man before God," and uh, dogs were one of his mediums, if you would, to getting out there and having a good time. Therefore, what got me into it, the same thing into it today. Why would you have a dog that can't do nothing?
Right.
So his obsession with animals, Animal Planet, lions, tigers, bears, the way of the world, far as nature is concerned. And then you look at a man's best friend per se, and I spent a lot of time with dogs when I was a kid. I spend a lot of time with them now as an adult. But the vision is always just to make sure that everybody's safe.
Right. So when when did you decide to transfer over to the breed that you're dealing with now?
Well, I tried about 10 years ago, and I'm gonna go into depth on our page about that just in detail. I got paperwork from a dog named Champ that I owned, and I didn't get what they were doing to the dogs. So there was a guy that we knew in the Midwest who was breeding these bullies, which again it was new still, and they were putting him in a bucket. It was like it was so small you could put him in a bucket. I didn't get that, and so even a buddy of mine named Ronnie, he had came over to my house one time and he saw Champ. He said, "Whose dog is that?" I said, "It's mine." And he said, "How long have you had him?" I said, "He was 8 weeks old." And Champ was a classic. That's what you call him today. But I transferred over just because pit bulls, they can be a little much, and it takes twice as much work to manage them.
Yeah,
And the bullies, because they added the bulldog, they're a little dialed back, so they've got the on and off switch. And if you breed to the terrier while making sure the bulldog's properly managed, so you reduce the risk of issues, then you could basically, I don't want to say insure, but put it in anybody's home, and the dog, can go either way. You can do what I do with my dogs, or they can literally be couch potatoes.
right. Let me get into these comments real quick before we go any further, real quick. My good brother Soul Power, aka Gamed Up Kendall, says salute, brothers. Devon B said, "What up, fam?" Samurai Modern Day Game Dogs, he said, "Salute, fellas." And then my good brother Soul Power Gamed Up Kendall said, "All facts." I believe that's when we were answering one of the questions. And then Samurai Kendall said the same thing, facts. Bully more bully, salute to you, fam. And if y'all got any questions, go ahead and drop down some questions in the comments, and we'll get to them too. So, anything you guys want to ask them, the topics today is actually what is the purpose of breeding different bull breeds. So, if you guys got any good questions that's kind of alluding to that, go ahead and drop them in the comment section, and I'll get right to them for you guys. But so seeing that your dogs have a purpose in your program, what what is the what do you want to see in a dog to in order for it to be in your program? Like, what does the dog have to be expressing as far as traits?
Realistically, I just need good movement. We don't measure weight. We don't measure height. We don't measure size. So when even people say, "Hey, is it a standard XL or a pocket?" I said it's a good dog. Facebook asks you what's happening, or it's either that or Twitter. And when you build a business, because we're building it for a customer base that doesn't exist, I put a lot of good dogs in a lot of places. So for me, Zara's a protective dog. I bred her to a dog that was balanced, and you get Ego, who's an alpha dog, who's better balanced because he's not so driven like his mother, but he's that driven. But he's not driven from a prey standpoint. So we really focus on epigenetics, which will last a lot longer. And then, of course, health being the number one thing. And so we don't have the proof right now to say, hey, we've got a 15-year-old dog. I got a pit bull that's still 14 years old that's alive. I've
Right.
got a bully, Champ is still alive, and he's about 11 years old. And he was still giving me 2 miles with a vest on at 9 years old. So I've got dogs that are still around and kicking, rocking per se. But we just look for healthy dogs, man. They'll always look like a pit bull per se, and that's the just of the community and society is going to say, "Oh, that's a cute pit," and I'm fine with that. But the question that comes next is it a good dog? And my job, even with my pit bulls back in the day, was just to change the way people saw them, and I did that. I did that.
So one of my good brothers said that brother be having me binge watching Salute Fit Bullies. So with with that being what you're going for in your program, what what would you say in the next 5 to 10 years would the ABKC be changing the standards again?
I don't know, man. Our goal is to get away from the ABKC. So I come back. The bully is a popular dog, and if you look at, I have an AKC's complete dog book, and it's about 300 breeds. Realistically, when you're talking about the bully, it's 1% of 1% of 1%, and that's a
Right.
small percentage of dogs. And I do a lot of outdoor stuff. So when you look at, we'll just call white people and their dogs, the people who I want to have my dogs, they need to be relatively active. They need to be out there getting after it. And same thing with us. So I think the American Bully ABKC has a ceiling, and it's already hit the ceiling. Right now, the people in the UK and other countries are catching wind, but that's just because the pit bull's illegal. If the pit bull was still legal in a lot of these countries, no one would really be fancying or fascinated by the American Bully. But it's the dog that they can kind of break the law with and still feel like they have a pit bull, even though it's not. So I think the ABKC is reached its peak. I shot the ABKC Nationals Grand Champion Blue. I shot David Martinez's dog, 2 years ago now at the national meet. I was sitting right there. It was a low turnout. I've been to other dog shows. I've been flown out to Cali to shoot dog shows. Small turnout. If you don't respect or honor the dog, there's nowhere to take it. So when you look at why is the German Shepherd, the Rottweiler, the Malinois, the Dutch Shepherd, um, even the Pit Bull in some sense, being preserved so well, is because there's a place to take it. You can go do bite work. You can go do training. You can go French ring, monitoring. What's that other one that they do? PSA. All those things are ways to keep taking the top dogs, breeding them to make better dogs.
Right.
So the ABKC, in my opinion, it peaked. All the guys that were old school in it, and I was there 10 years ago when the exotics came, some of them tried to shift there, and now some of them are shifting to the Frenchies because it's a trend thing. And for me, it's a quality thing. So we're not going to, I never did Terry, or you will say, I never ran from the Pit Bull. I never ran from the American Bully. I just didn't understand why they would do this to a dog and make it worse. Then I said, oh shit, they still doing a terrible job. I said, guys, there's a big opportunity here from a business standpoint to impact change. And I don't think any of these people know how to do it. No disrespect to nobody. And so when I came back, I mean, mind you, me coming back, I bought a female that's over here right now with a pup since 2 years ago. So they're like, oh, you got success. No, I waited 2 years, and guess what? No 2 years, nothing changed.
Right.
I waited another 2 years because I needed Ego to grow up. Another year for him to grow up. Nothing changed. We got Bam Bam was 6 months. Still, nothing changed. So when you're seeing what we're doing from a value standpoint, the ABKC doesn't hold the dog to a high standard. As you said, it changed, right? It changes
Yes.
all the time. It was an
Yes.
extreme class because of Rocco. It was this class because of Mr. B. He goes off popularity, not quality, and there's no intent to preserve anything. So I think I say this all the time. The American Bully isn't going anywhere, but it's not going anywhere either.
Right. So based off what you're just saying right now, you're pretty much going for the overall working dog.
Yeah, we're going to call them AMTs in the future. I'm writing the history of it. So everybody ran. I did a history lesson. Go look up the AKC and read the books too. Everybody ran from the pit bull. They tried to hide it, deny it. I'm actually going to write a letter like if I was talking from a pit bull standpoint because I have an affinity for that dog. But objectively, everybody ran from the pit bull. They try to hide it, mask it, change his name, but it is what it is. The dog is going to always be that dog. So in this case, we're going to call them American Terriers. They'll be the M will stand for muscle, of course, and they will be working dogs. So we eventually, in 5 to 6 years, won't even, they'll have bully ABKC paperwork because we have that. But objectively, they'll be AMTs, my friend. It's something that
So,
people can understand.
so do you believe in utilizing like the mastiffs and like different breeds to kind of fit your needs?
To a degree. To a degree. Remember, I did a video that said, the American Bully did need a bulldog because if he technically, which they didn't, if they just use the American Staffordshire Terrier and let's say a pit bull, that's a cross. It's not a new breed. So you need
Right.
two dogs to create a new breed. And at some point, more than likely, Chris Moore is going to assist me in making sure we bring in the right dog to our program. To be clear.
So let's jump into that. How did you actually come across Chris Moore? How'd you meet him?
I'm one of those people where people say, "Look, you got to meet this guy," and then he came in, and I was working with X Dog at the time. He did a podcast, and in us arguing in the room, he said, "Oh man, this dude about to be at the house every day," and that was it. Good souls when souls align, and people that are supposed to meet. It was already in the history books. We were supposed to meet. We're all me, him, and Ruben. We're all August people. We're within 2 the same day birthdays. I told them how to think bigger. And now he's one of my business partners. He's invested in what we're doing. He understands the future. I think there's a lot of value he brings, but he's tired of fighting the good fight or arguing with people. So he don't do it. So I told him I'll do it. I'll do it to get us all where we need to be. And then, everything will be good.
Right. One of my brothers said, so Samurai Kennels modern day game dogs. He said, "Can I register my American Pit Bull Terrier as a AMT?"
Eventually, my friend. Eventually, let me tell you guys something, and I'm happy to say it here because nobody can stop what's about to happen in the future. They wouldn't even know how to put this thing together. And again, no disrespect, we're going to build a network I'm going to build facilities that focus on wellness, DNA sequencing, poop sequencing. I know how to do all these things, which is why I keep reiterating a 20-year plan. The world doesn't need another dog or nor another, we'll say, registry, but all the registries are wrong. The AKC is the only one that has the integrity to protect the breed or its breeds, which is why you see preservation there with the dogs. But long term, I'll build something that changes everything, and this will be it. So eventually, you can, because I respect the pit bull, and as long as it's got some of our traits per se, we've got some numbers that we've got on that we're going to aim for, and we're raising everything by an inch at a time, which is why we got 20 years of work. We're going to build a lot of stuff, my friend. This is literally like getting a hold of a computer when you were Amazon or Apple or Microsoft and seeing what the next 20 years looks like. And think about it like this. As I said before, dogs been around for 35,000 years. Nothing's changed. I don't need to breed dogs to pay my bills. What has to change is the way in which we take care of our dogs. Is why I say
Right.
with the dogs. And that information, because I get the phone calls from the UK last night. Hey, what's this? It's mastitis. You need to do this, this, and that. Get on amoxicillin. There are a lot of people who spend a lot of money trying to protect their dogs, manage their dog's health. There's got to be a better way. And I think I know how to do it. So eventually, yeah, man, I want them pits in there, not fighting, but acting like themselves. Put them on, get them working. So let's showcase what a dog can do. And that'll be my goal with whatever we build in the very near future. Is
My
really,
good brother Samurai Kennels, he's right up that alley, bro.
yeah.
He's showing the dogs doing protection work. He has a ABA dog, and he's actually showing the dog doing bite work, and just showing the dog as an intelligent specimen overall. And
Bro, they got a Netflix has a thing where they show a rat driving a car. It's a mouse. They built these cars, and even the rat eventually figured out how to back up and park to get the treat. Like the stuff that we're doing with dogs, or they're doing with animals and pets. Animals are much smarter than we can imagine, and I love pushing the envelope. Let's see what this dog can really do. See how it thinks. And most people just get him to pet him and look at him. I said, I don't want to look at no dog. I'm sorry. I want to go out here and have a good time and I won't say torment him, but just be a bully person. I love playing with a rough. I'm roughhouse. I'm rough. Period.
yeah, yeah, man, I came from the game dog era. My dad, he had game dogs back in the day when I was born,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much what I grew up off all the way up until when I got a little older and I started seeing the bigger guiding line dogs, the big blues. Um, Not just that, like even like some of the Camelot dogs, the big red dogs.
Yeah, and Gray Line too. Gray Line. Tony did a good job back in the day too.
Well, that's what Gotti line is. Great line.
Yeah, it was a mix and match, but he got away from Gotti because he started doing some other things. So
Yep, pretty much. So what would be a good formula based on your ideas and just your overall opinion? What would be a good formula for somebody to start with, trying to rebuild the best American bully?
I wouldn't know. Only for the purposes that when you go back and you look at Cairo, you look at there's a dog that my buddy had named Game Time, and he had a female named Paducah. You look up and you say, okay, these are some tough dogs. So because there's so much diversity in the American Bully, you can kind of put your own twist to it and really sell to a market and never have to go to an ABKC show. So you can start however you want to start and finish how you want to finish as long as you have a vision, right?
Right.
And so what I like is consistency, and quality, to say the least. And quality for me is not defined by the size of its head, but more so by the will of the dog. I love a willing dog, a dog that's willing to learn, willing to love you, willing to care, willing to work, and willing to rest when it's time to rest too. But I can't answer that because when you talk about Mr. Beans, if you talk about Rocco, if you talk about
Casablanca.
the Casablanca, you talk about Disciple back in the day, who was you talk about The Rock, you start talking about, people argue, the Hulk. You start talking about all this diversity. You start talking about bossy dogs. You start talking. I mean, you can go down the line.
Iron Cross
Kennels, exactly. Roman over there. You can go down the line, my friend, and really build anything. And I mean, the Blue Diamonds, dog that they had back in the day. That boy was Draco, sick. you go down the line, there's a lot of great dogs out there. It's just your job to market and communicate effectively, the benefits of the dog, bring the dog into a space to your world and just enjoying it. So
I got one of my co-hosts and finally showed up. He was here, and my good brother, was in the comments, but he's finally here.
there we go. Hey, hand me that remote over there so I can put this heat on.
Peace and blessings, good brothers. Peace and blessings.
What it do, so?
Oh man, all is well as well. Salute, brother Fitbullykennels.
How you doing, man?
Oh, all is well, all is well. Let me start off by giving you flowers and let you know, amazing program. Tuned in. I actually found you through your shorts. So
Appreciate it.
yeah, great work over there. Great work.
Yes,
If,
sir.
if
Yes, sir.
if you don't mind me asking a quick question, I didn't mean to break you all, Bill.
No, you good. You good.
Can you go in depth? I saw a video recently where you had a timid puppy and you had a little incident where the puppy broke some skin. Can you speak to the importance of breeding for stable temperament in dogs and how important that is overall to really keeping the breed and preserving a standard as far as the stability of the breed goes?
Yeah, so when you add a bulldog to anything, a bulldog objectively is a submissive dog. I know because I shot almost 20 of Chris's dogs, and Chris has 20 plus years of bulldog understanding, mixing dogs, oldies, etc. One of the things that happens is you've got Baloo, who's got definitely bulldog back there somewhere. You've got Zara, who's got terrier in her. So now you've got confidence and fear. What happens when you mix a confidently fear person in the hood? They'll shoot you. That's that. He confident as long as he got the gun. He's afraid if he by himself. Homies hype him up. So in that sense, you're always in danger. So when you're balancing the emotional welfare of these dogs, you say, okay, Zara's super driven. She's the one who will literally walk through a fence and go get a dog. I need something to level her out. Well, Baloo will run under the bed too far to the left. That's too far to the left, which is also why I said Bam Bam and Cha Cha will never be bred out of our program, outside of our program. None of the dogs that I have ever will anyway, but they never will for sure. So when you're balancing temperament, you need something like, for instance, Maya, who's chill as hell, to a dog like Ego. Well, Ego's properly balanced because he don't go after nobody. He's right outside the door, and he's not whining or nothing. He's super chill to a chill dog, but because I know how to turn him on, we turn him on. So when you add bulldog and people are lying, they're lying about what they're doing. That's the truth. So and because they're trying to create this magical, big-headed, short, two snout, drop whatever dog, and then you get this dog that you can't manage or can't control. My job, objectively, is to ensure that if I tell you this dog is driven, I even told one of the families buying one of these pups from Zara, said, hey, look, let me be very clear saying, you get this dog, it might not be cool with other people unless you take it out and show everybody. So people come to your house, don't put it up, but just be mindful. Tell them don't raise their voice and don't move too fast. And he's, this pup's literally a week old. But I know what I put in epigenetically, but these people aren't breeding for that, my friend. So how do you preserve it? You slow down. You slow down. As I told him, I spent 2 years building Zara. I spent 2 years building Maya. This is their last litters. They're 3 and some change now. And I want to be able to vouch for them. Cha-Cha will not be bred till she's 2. Nala will not be bred till she's 2. I think they're keeping a female out of this litter. Won't be bred till they're 2. And eventually we'll only breed every 2 years. Because when we dial in our formula, I don't need to fill the world with dogs. But that's people we're talking quality versus quantity. And some of these guys live and die by their dogs. Literally, unfortunately, can't pay their bills unless they have a litter or they're doing some stud services. We don't do that. And because I respect safety, I breed so that my Nana, who is dead at 90, could control one of my pit bulls. And at 86, she had a 4 or 5-year-old pit bull, 2 bad hips, and she could manage that dog. And I trusted the dog to be there no matter what. Because of those dogs, I will never trust them to be anywhere. But let me be very clear, as I did in the video, because they're in a heightened, freaked out state of being, when I went to grab them, normally I'll grab a dog by his head, close his mouth, and tell it to calm down. I should have sat down and paced myself in that reactive state of being. Now, mind you, I didn't raise my voice. I was surprised, baffled. But it's that fear factor that's in there. So you build the dog off of confidence and faith. I believe in Zara. She's got the utmost confidence. I stacked that. I built these dogs. I added fear. Here's a problem, even for adults and humans. And so now I've got to manage the problem. Now the upside is nobody else has these problems. People think I keep oftentimes what looks the best, but also the most challenging dogs. Everybody else who got a litter from this dog, they're good. So the American Bully is no. They say it's got a good temperament. I've seen the dogs get hot in the ring. I was just at a show 3 months ago now. Dogs going after other dogs. I mean, dogs being asked to leave the ring. They're not training the dogs to be better dogs, man. They're not breeding to be better dogs. They're just breeding for an aesthetic because it is a designer breed.
Right. I concur with that. Phenotype has been the most overly focused thing in the aspect of the bullies.
Yeah.
You gotta say cosmetics too.
Yeah. Well, that's what he said. That's exactly what phenotype is. Phenotype. Genetics was inside. Phenotype is what's on the outside, what you see. So
yeah,
but you can always add a bigger head if you want one. I said we don't breed for heads. You can always add more mass. You can always raise the height by an inch or two if you need to. What you can't do a lot of times is work out those bad genetics as far as like who the dog is.
So would you say it's certain bloods that just have bad temperaments?
We use the word bloods and we toss that word around. But here's the thing: if you come from an astute family and it's a room full of doctors, then you just doctors. So part of what you're asking is the DNA side. When I tell you that my dogs will do this, this, and that, every last one moving forward will do this, this, and that, especially at Generation 5. So is it bad blood or bad breeding? It's bad breeding because they're not invested in the dog. And I don't mean not feeding the dog. I don't mean not taking care of the dog. I mean they're not invested in the long-term affect of how the dog's going to impact someone else's life if it's not properly managed. So everybody that gets a dog from me gets all the nutritional information that I have and know, and they also get a training package. This is how you train this dog and manage it for the first year. Right. That's all. If you don't do these things, you're going to have problems, period.
Right.
Yes, sir. I think you coming from the American Pit Bull Terrier background has really grounded you in understanding the importance of a healthy, balanced dog.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I put a lot of dogs. Look, there was a doctor named Suman Kambadi. He was it was Indian from Calcutta. Imagine Indians. You ain't even seen no Indians with no pit bulls. And I didn't have anywhere to put Coco at one point in time, and she was a dog who he said, "I'll watch for you, Trev." And he had a son while she was there. She was already a 4-year-old pit bull, and he said he sent me the cage back. He said it's better than my Labrador. Exactly, exactly, my friend. And you're right, because if you don't know what you're doing, man, you're gonna do to that which needs to be done the exact wrong thing. And I need my dogs and people to feel safe, and I don't want that phone call ever. I want that phone call. Hey, the dog tore my daughter's face off or hand off, or I just don't want that, man. I don't want that.
So that brings us to this question right here. My good brother Devon B said, so if someone buys one of your dogs, would you train them to protect if they pay you?
That comes later. We can, but let me be very clear in saying a dog needs to go through sexual maturity to train. Everybody wants their dog to be Tyson, but here's the truth. In the 6 to 9 months, if you got in the ring with Tyson at 15, he would knock your head off. Right. And you don't have a chance till you almost in your 30s, realistically, and that's just to survive. So you don't have the skill or the brain even capacity to deal with that. Human brain grows to about 22. A dog to do protective work, you start doing the things to invite it into the space for the first 8 to 9 months, right? And then there's this moment, if you really like watch dogs and you've worked dogs and seen all the things a dog can do, where it clicks, right? It's like Ego right now sitting down while the two dogs, who are not small dogs, are pulling the rope. When I saw that, he's figured it out. He's coming into a space where he understands who he is and what he's capable of. Why? Because we've trained that. So would I train them? Yeah, if they wanted and they were around the area. But it's like, hey, I want my dog to do protection work. Train it, communicate with it for the first year, and then we'll talk. We'll talk.
Right. You gotta see if they're putting in that effort with you already been established with them.
Yeah, capable.
Yeah. So my good brother Yellow One said, if you can continue if you can continue to breed a family of dogs, they continue to present the same traits and characteristics.
It depends, because if you get too tight on your bloodline, it's they lose their anavistic behaviors, and what that means is Baloo's tightly bred. So what is he? He's a little slow. He don't think he like literally lost half the time. It is believed both that dogs can be epileptic. It is believed that they have Down syndrome. There's a lot of beliefs, but beyond the reason, but it's called the extinction vortex. When you start breeding things too tight, the dog will lose a lot of those behaviors as well. And then you bring in problems that you have to spend the next 3 to 4 generations getting rid of. And
Okay.
feel free, people, go read about the extinction vortex. You'll learn a lot.
Right.
Yes, genetics being too tight for sure.
And
Mhm.
then
Yeah,
my good brother Samurai Kendall said the human needs the training first for the protection work. If you buy a gun, you need to go to the range to train. If you train a dog, you must also train yourself to handle it.
That's all it is, man. We only ever train in people, man. As people say, my dog's doing this. I said, I have to see it, man. I understand dog behavior. Sometimes you can't put it in words. You could just see it. Like I just know. I just know because I've seen the dog in every situation. To be clear, so you better back away from that dog. Something awful's about to happen.
I think one thing that you said was very important that when you are selling puppies, that you keep the challenging dogs and you give your customers the best behaved dogs. I think that's very vital and important, and especially with the image of a breed.
Yeah, I get it. I make all the choices to be clear, people. So some people say I want first pick. First pick. What do you need the dog to do? Well, I want a service dog. Okay, then I have to develop a dog. Nobody gets to choose what dog they get, to be clear. So in my kennel, especially, we won't breed for the next breedings are next year. You either got a dog this year, or you didn't, because we have to take care of our dogs. But I make all the choices. I got a family, I believe an Indian family named Hina. She said, she literally said, this is us out of New Jersey. Do I send Ego Junior there? That dog will be jumping out their house. It's not gonna happen. It's not going. I need to make sure, because every dog is different still. Who's got the most drive, the most will, the most focus? Well, the guy that's got the most talent, skill to manage that dog, he's going here. You might want that color, but that's not who the dogs are. That color thing, I love a beautiful dog. I'll be lying if I said I didn't, but the gist of it is, I'm not keeping one of them. I'm keeping the lilac and tri girl with the little white mark because I know she's going to be better than her mother. 1 inch taller than her mother. And either way it goes, I know how to breed her, but you're absolutely right, man. I make the choices to preserve my program's integrity, if you would. I don't want no phone calls saying I couldn't do so. You're right, you couldn't, because I gave you the worst dog on earth. It's gonna require too much time. You want to let's send her the chill one, the one that's kind of like dial back. He'll do it, but he won't do it. So when he gets there, he ain't gonna turn up too much.
Yeah. So will you be doing any line breeding or inbreeding in your program?
No inbreeding, but we'll definitely line breed to a degree. And the way we do it is via cousins, uncles, and aunts. And and so even in this particular litter, Zara's the grandmother of these dogs over here,
Okay.
and her son. So right now, I've already got I've stacked 2 lines of confidence. That's how I look at it. Some of them are like, oh, I stack arms, shoulders, head. Son. No, I stacked 2 lines of confidence here with restraint. So Eagle's got restraint, Maya's got restraint, Zara's got the prey drive. So I've dialed it back ×2 while building up this one button in there. If you know how to turn it on, you can press the button and the dog will go over the edge.
Yeah. We Devon B says, have you seen any bulldogs that have the drive like in your dogs?
Yeah, bulldogs do. Chris Moore, I was on the phone with him literally a little bit ago. He's about to start doing bite work with a guy, and the guy is a bulldog. He sold to a guy out in Virginia who is doing bite work. He literally has a dog trainer in his house right now. I told him what we need to do collectively. And so bulldogs, they get busy, but the challenge is the way that their structure is, they've got the undershot chin, right? So when you got an undershot chin, you do like this with your jaw, you put a lot of strain on the spine. So it's difficult for them to carry things because the way their jaw structure, they literally have to keep their head up high. So you have to be careful and make sure that whenever any bulldog is doing like bite work stuff, that the person catching them does a good job. Never let them hit the target, if you would, or the sleeve dead on. Make sure the person knows how to catch them real good, because there's the stress on their spine is already times 10 in comparison to any other dog.
Right. So what are some red flags that you look for in potential customers?
I just sell the pet homes, man. My goal is to sell the pet homes. We sold 2 dogs out of 11 dogs are sold to 2 people that are potentially going to breed. And these people are like, they've been listening so tough. There's a Merle girl over. He's like, nah. We want to start breeding right. We heard you say the Merle's not the way to go, so give us that lilac and Ted. Anybody else is like, I gotta have this pretty dog. They've paid so close attention that they want to begin right. So, and the other thing is someone said, we was gonna do breeding, but let us just get uh, let us do the pet home, and I keep all papers until somebody pays. To be clear, if you want breeding rights and pet home options, I keep all the papers. We not even gonna play that game. I keep all paperwork, but they were like, we just gonna save, and then if we feel like we are confident enough, then we'll do it later. And he's like, we got the money, but I like everything you're saying. I'd rather know more. I thought quick, let's rush into it. That's why I hold up receipts. All the money being spent, all the time being spent, all the work that we do. This is not a fun game, but if you treat it like a business, a real business, McDonald's does McDonald's every day, Nike does Nike every day, and people are in and out of that place troubleshooting every day. You only have a job oftentimes because you are solving a problem. You don't have a job because things are working every day. That's not the case. You're at the front desk or something to deal with some motherfucker coming in trying to fuck with the job or whatever the case may be. So it's like, how good at troubleshooting can you get when it comes to dealing with, this particular dog being in the space? And we're pretty good at troubleshooting.
Right.
You mind if I ask the question?
Go ahead, good brother. So,
All right. I heard you speak to your grandfather, and could you speak to the impact that your grandfather had and really giving you direction or the love and the passion for the dogs?
He just said, my grandfather was a religious person. I'm not a religious person. I've read the Bible 5 times, but I'm not religious. He just said, if you ever want to watch the way in which God designed this earth to function, watch an animal. They don't respond or react to things. He said they do it, they survive. They kind of mind their business. But you ever want to watch the flow of nature, like real nature, not human nature? He said, watch animals. And so when you start looking at animals, and we're going to do that too. I've already got 4 or 5 habitats in Austin. I'm going to keep inviting people into more breeds, and even more importantly, more animals. I loved what Tarzan does over on IG, but his love and affinity for animals and, the zoo and just things was like, that's unique. And then you start seeing people and their connection with horses, or you see a person who's connected to something small as a hamster, or I never could do the snake thing, but the guy who's like loves snakes. I mean, that's odd to me, but that's who they are, right? And so when it comes to a dog, as I said, you get this whole space in this room, and Eagle be laying right on my feet, or Zora be right on my back, or Tron right at my chest. All the space in the world, and the man's best friend per se was designed just for you. You just got to treat it right.
So one of my brothers, Devon B, said, can you make a video on camera skills uh, as far as shooting videos of dogs? It's hard getting good clips.
Yeah, I can. We've done some behind the scenes stuff that could be complicated, my friend. And I'm only saying that I'll do a video and show you how I would do it and how we do it when you've seen this stuff. But I've been shooting high end videos for over 12 years. So we have Sony A1s here. That's a $6,000 body. I'm telling you this because you could the Sony A7C, which is a good buy. It's got unlimited recording. That's a $1,500 body. Your lens is going to cost a lot of money. The A1 was used at the Olympics. It can shoot up to 240 frames full frame. You got 120 frames. You can reduce things down to 20%. And then we have a Ronin S2 gimbal, which we do stabilization stuff. But because I like the Nike effect, we've been shooting real like things this way. So I would tell you this: whenever you're going to start shooting or presenting something, make sure you have a good story in mind. If you don't have a vision for the shots or the story you want to convey, you're just shooting a video. So when you watch our stuff, you see intent, right? We literally can edit everything because we don't do no extra shit. When we press play, the rule is press play post. I have to kill it, and we got to move on. I don't check numbers. Like they tell me, like, yo, we're up to 320,000 on YouTube. Hunter, he'll screenshot when we had our first big wave last year, and he said, I'm a screenshot right now because I know what's going to happen in this. I can't keep up with that. I have to read, study, take care of the dogs. I told him I'm going to take on the Steve Jobs approach. But at the same time, I'm teaching guys like Jamarcus, who's here, and everybody how to manage business and even more importantly, do camera stuff. So part of their task, we got to shoot something every week so they can get better. And you can always tell the difference when I shoot and they do.
Right. But like, so even with that, bro, like you have like all the extra help around. Like, how is it to come by support like that? People that hop on the wagon and participate and do their part.
So I'm gonna be candid in saying this, what some people call frank. See, niggas like screwing people over, and to be clear, a nigga screw you over for $500, and I was gonna give you $5 million. So because
That's true.
we were not often taught how to do business, and business is based on relationships. See, it's not even based on getting this 10, 120, or even that $500 you screwed you over for. It's about having vision. And so I told Stan, the dog man, I said, Stan, I'm gonna tell you how to get $10 million. And I asked him to give me some numbers, give me some roundabout numbers. When I first met him, the guy who helps us train our dogs at times, and a guy named John Canine, he text Stan and he forwarded to me. He said he's doing $3 million, and I'm going somewhere with this. He's doing $3 million a year training dogs in Florida. And I said, I fucking told you. I told Stan, I'll pay you $2 million to go away. So when you have a team of people, for one, you say, Jamarcus, this is what we have to do. Here's the workload. Here's the workflow. What are you going to do for the next 20 years if you don't do this? You're going to go to work and hate your life? I can show you how to make money. So YouTube pays us, TikTok pays us. But while I'm doing that, he's building his brand. One of his goals last year was to get to 10,000 followers on TikTok alone before the end of the year. That was a rule. And I told him, I'll help you do it if you need, whatever we got to do to get you there. Guess what? He got 50,000 followers on TikTok. We're growing his pages as well. Donna Lynn Bailey, CT Fletcher, Big Scoob, all the fitness guys that really blew up early on, what did they do? They worked together. So I teach them how to do business. I gave him the camera skill. I told him how to use the camera. I got like 4 cameras, Canon R5, Canon EOS R, those other 2 Sonys. I told him how to do marketing. So what happens? He goes, works one day a week. They pay him $2,000 to come for 2 hours and shoot their social media a month. Imagine working one day a week. Somebody give you 2 bands, and that's all you got to do. And then help them post stuff and give it to them. They have to post it. You teach a man to fish, he can eat for life, right? So I showed him all how to fish. I bought the PS5. I told everybody playing the game when we get on Twitch. I don't need the money. I didn't look. When I was 24 years old, I was head of wellness for a $500 million business. I made $4,000 a week. I was making over $200,000 a year. A white guy gave me this task, this job. And I sat there when he was, as I said, getting money, $500 million from a company or from a bank back home. I saw all this stuff, and I'm like Zuckerberg. I get bored easy because I live here, way up there on Zootron. And I'm like, I'm already bored with the dog thing because I told them what was going to happen. You ask any of them without me around, hey, walk us through a plan. They tell you beyond a reasonable doubt what exactly what's going to happen and when, and it all happened because it's just work. So you get guys like Jamarcus to believe in himself. You give the man faith. You give him something to stand by, to live up to. You give him direction, which 9 out of 10 people think they know where they're going, and they don't. They don't know how to get there. Most people don't know what the next step is. Hey, I got these dogs. Yeah, you just got dogs. I sold every dog roughly in 5 days because it never was about the dog. If Oprah says something, 1 million people buy it. That's it. If I say something, the brand is you. Just like a salesman. You go somewhere, a lot of times you might even want to buy them, but the salesman sold you him. So you're like, I'm gonna get his dude some extra money, man. Let me go and help this dude out. I'm a salesman at heart, and I could sell anything.
Right.
I could sell anything, man. But most importantly, I'm just honest and right. So they feel like they can trust me, and they can because I don't got nothing to hide. They have all the numbers. He sees all the numbers, the money coming and going. He knows where to spend. I don't even see half the stuff, my friend. I don't keep track of it. I need to be in front of the camera. I need to build a business. I literally wrote his plan up. We wrote a plan up over the next 8 weeks. Get your phone or a computer out. These are the next 20, 30 videos you're going to shoot for yourself. I do this for other companies as well. I used to come in and literally lay out all 100 steps and build their brands communicationally. So I walked away from everything in August of last year. In about 90 days or so, we had under a million, right at a million people over all three platforms: TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And I do think we'll be at 500,000 here soon with YouTube, and many platforms. I mean, we're gonna hit some numbers, but it's gonna be about the impact, not the influence. So people are sharing the value. And number
Yeah,
one thing in any business, my people, value, man. You having a dog just means you got a dog. That don't mean nothing. What value are you sharing with others? Period. And it don't got to be right. There's so many people. Hey, you shouldn't train your dog. You got to do this. I'm like, my man, we got 20 years. I'm not rushing this. They need to see my humanity. I trained over 20 pit bulls. I put them in places where people never had dogs. They were around people who didn't understand dogs. Why were they all safe? Because I had them dialed in. I'm not doing that again. Right now, step one, guys, we're going to show them our humanity. We're going to make sure that we communicate effectively. We're going to show them that you ain't got to get it right. This is not a planned thing, but it happened. I'm not hiding nothing. There's nothing you could do to stop somebody who's unafraid of judgment and, even more importantly, doing the work and learning from choices and being better every day. A lot of men
right.
get into their own head. Hey, I want to be, I just want to get it right. You ain't got to get it right. You got to be better every day. That's it.
Be a better us.
That's how my
How can I be a better me today?
That's it. But that's how you get these men, Hunter and everybody, to do as I ask them to do. Stand to drive 99 miles once a week, and commit to that for almost 2 years just to become a better man. It's like
Right.
if I met a better me, I'd be hanging out with that joker as much as I could.
Right. So one of my good brothers, T. Lottie, asked. He said, "How did you pull this off, Rose?" He was like, "Don't forget our boy Fetty wants to talk to Fit Bullies TV."
Oh, how did you pull it off? I'll tell you this. He's asking about how you got me to talk to you.
Yeah.
I say this, as I told him already. I said, look, I don't watch a lot of shit. I told him this, and if I said, look, don't send me a lot of stuff, man. He was respectful. I like that he sounded kind, and that's the number one thing too. I said, if all I have to do is be kind to people, we'll be okay, guys. I'm not nice, but I'm
Yeah.
kind, and I'm clear. And you could tell somebody's energy seemed to be with good intent while he wanted to talk. And mind you, a lot of times people know I've said no to a lot of people. No.
Right.
But I said, this one of those, it's not gonna hurt nothing. I don't even know what's happening now. Like, I don't know where this is going, none of that stuff. But if I could help, and you've got some good questions, and we can help, reach a few more people and whatever you're doing, and then so be it.
Because in reality, healthy dogs matter, but it's bigger than the dogs also.
Always bigger than the dogs, man. These dogs gonna be my dogs if I never showed another dog, man. They're not going nowhere.
Yeah, I'm always gonna have dogs. That's what I got into dogs because I love dogs. You feel me? I'm a trainer at heart, but don't get me wrong too. I know how to put good specimens together to put good dogs on the ground.
Yeah,
Just for what I need though, for my purposes.
that's it. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, I really don't breed for what the customer wants. I'm breeding for what I need at this moment, what I need at this time.
Always, always, always,
So,
man.
but let's dive into overall what should the community be trying to do right now to fix the breed?
Nothing. You can't. I'm sorry. If I was to fix something, let's put it like this: there was Adobe created a converter for Apple, and what that means is, like you get a game, you can play the games for free online. Apple said no, 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 no. We don't do that. We pay. Everybody pays us. Now Apple owns 19% of Adobe, so they're like, we're not. But I thought we were friends. No, we are friends, but we run a tight business over here. And if you use any Apple, and they want to play games, you can sign up for arcade. You can download that game and pay us, but you're not getting it for free. If the head of a corporation, a business, or the American bully does not crack the whip per se, then there is no control. And they never crack the whip, my friend. If anything, they keep changing it. So how do you fix it? Take care of your dogs. Love them to death. Build a good business. Do right by the dog. Do right by the people. And you can't fix it because technically there's nowhere to live up to. Where do you take it?
So in reality, we got to set a standard for ourselves.
And there you have it. That's it. That's it. That's exactly right. That's what we do. I live to a standard. People see the standard. The oddest people are like, there's a woman who rescues rabbits. And she said, we've never in our life considered breeding or buying a dog from a breeder, but we love what you're doing so much. My husband and I, we can't stop watching. We like, if we ever get a dog, like we got to get one from you. And you go, I appreciate it. That was always my goal, to change the world, not breed a dog. I don't need to breed a dog, but I need to change the world and contribute at the top 5%. So do I live up to the ABKC standard? No, we wrote a standard. I wrote a standard for the team. The dogs don't meet the epigenetic standards. They'll never be bred. Cha-Cha doesn't meet my criteria. She'll never be bred. She'll live with me forever, but I don't have to breed her. That's the beauty about it. I got to take care of her because I chose to keep her.
Yeah. So you'll be fine with the dog just being your pet.
Period. Period.
Not every dog is a breeding tool.
No, that's the part too. I got to get my money back. No, you don't.
Yeah, you don't. No. Just be happy with what you bought.
Yeah.
Just like we go out and go buy us whatever designer clothes, whatever, you feel me? You're not gonna wear that same designer clothes forever.
Can't, bro. And you're not getting your money back neither.
Yeah, hell no. Hell no, you're not getting it back. But anything else you want to ask, good brother Soul?
Yeah, I know the good brother. This is a businessman, so he's pressed for time. So I will end with this last question. Uh, what is the importance of genetic testing? If do you think it is important?
I think it is and isn't. The challenge with it, put it like this: if I were going to genetically test my dogs, then I would be testing them under the pretense that there's a consistency in the dog. So right now, one of the things that pops up when you're embark is a CDR4. No bully has ever been impacted by the CDR4. So their tests often are not designed specific to a breed. So if it's not designed to a breed, my job, you know how I test their health? Work the shit out of them. I know, like, oh, you're gonna be fine. And then we make sure that the pups grow up and they live well. They eat the best food. I have immunity days and all these days that, just like us, we take care of ourselves. So I think health testing could be important, but when they're still adding bulldog, when they're still adding bull mastiff, when they're still adding the mastiff, the North American mastiff, the Neapolitan, I mean, whatever they're adding, it's evident, right? From the eggshells to the pockets, the English bulldog, the oldie, the American bulldog, the Lapahai bulldog, you go, these dogs have various issues, and now they've invited those problems into these bullies, and it's getting worse. They're not getting better. And right when it maybe was about to catch a low leg, here come the exotics, and we don't know what's in them dogs. And there's no disrespect to exotic people. I hope you guys figure out how to keep a dog alive past 8 or 9. But I think health testing in the future could be important. But for the most part, I'm not going. I tell people, hey, you got a health guarantee? I said, I'm not God. I can't guarantee your health is going to be good, brother. I can tell you to eat everything right, you still get pancreatic cancer. You don't die. That's
Right.
just true. So for the most part, my friend, I think it could be important, but I don't think it's important today. Not in my.
Okay.
So let's
I would agree. My sentiments is breed to a constitution, have that locked in, don't deviate from it based on profitability. Lock in with health of the dogs, like you said, work the dogs. When you got dogs that are able to perform those tasks, you put those dogs together. When you breed by those standards, I believe you will create healthy generations.
For sure, and that's our goal. That's why I say I'm not worried about hey, I want a shorter muzzle. I don't want a shorter muzzle. I don't want to break a cephalic dog. I don't want a soft palate. I don't want an elongated soft palate. I don't want none of the things that they're breeding for. I want a good scissor bite. I want some good things. I've got the structure like dialed in on what we're looking for and what's important to us. And I think we'll be able to do it long term. But it's just going to take work, which we're not afraid of. But the health testing thing, we'll get there. I mean, even one of the dogs that I'm probably going to use from Chris at some point in time, he'll probably have, if they like the OFA thing, he'll probably have perfect hips. Like Chris does a lot of that type of testing. He's got bulldogs though too. So even when I invite potentially something that into our idea, I only get the dogs from the people that 9 out of 10 people couldn't find, let alone know where to like get the dogs. I know where all the dogs are at.
You
I
know
know
how to find some dogs.
I know where all the dogs is at to do whatever I'm trying to do, and they ain't do no health testing. You know how they test them? They let the dog live a good life, and it ain't in no kennel all day. It's rocking, it's rolling, and they would never put me in a bad position, and vice versa.
Right
So
on.
let's tap into like the nutrition side of the game. What's the reason all dogs should eat one time a day?
A dog's body works as a battery system, so we think they are humans. They're not us. So they store energy, and then when they begin to do something, their body breaks down and releases energy like a bear. We taught bears hibernate, so they're carnivorous animals with omnivore-like capabilities, and they do have amylase, which breaks down starch. But objectively, you want to keep ourselves included in a fasted growing state. And I mean, even the pregnant females, they only eat once a day. Is it everything that they need down to the science? Absolutely. Bam Bam and Cha Cha. But we're about to shoot 1, 2, 3, 5 videos of dogs eating and me breaking down some stuff. But once a day, and look up YouTube how a dog digestive system works, and you'll see 2 or 3 people break down a good diagrams how it works. Now, mind you, I've read all the books, but that's why.
My co-host said, my other co-host, he said, Big Bro said, we gotta have a part two. I'm driving. I sent your ass the link, bro. I told you too. I was telling you ahead of time, but it's all good, fam. We gonna make sure we get it locked in, fam.
I got my last question for you, good brother. If you could give one tip to up and comer like myself, I'm young in the dog world, you know, knowledgeable. I've been around it my whole life, but as far as calling myself a breeder, never dropped. Well, I've dropped 1 litter in my entire life. I'm in my 30s, but one tip for people who are trying to make the transition and into the dog world or the YouTube world.
YouTube is you've got to be interesting. You've got to master your approach. I would tell you if you need to speak to a someone who understands vocals and
You mean
how
inflection in the vocals?
all that stuff. Master your eyes. You got to
Okay.
know where to like invite people in and when to communicate. I've been acting in everything for a long time. So when the camera's on, it's showtime. You put me in front of a billion people, I'm like, no, I know what to do.
Yeah.
So from a YouTube standpoint, you either teaching or entertaining. Biggest accounts, entertain or teach. One or two. Those are the biggest ones. And most importantly, you got to have fun. From a breeding standpoint, do not limit yourself to being a breeder. There are breeders that I know breeders here in Dallas breed Labradors make $300,000 a year. Sell labs for $17,000 a lab. But they found a community where they do this, hunting Labrador, and these people pay that money because the history and everything, right? Find your niche in the business, and then make sure you know how to communicate that because every business needs distribution, marketing plan, solid communication strategy, and then you got to know your product beyond a reasonable doubt. So even when I'm testing my product, people are like, yo, I need my dog to listen like that. That dog sat there for 2 minutes. That's not happenstance. That's practice almost every day, if I'm being honest. And it doesn't always happen. I'd be lying if I said we always did certain things. But because I speak dog, I've got my dogs under control. Enough control for me, to be clear. But the YouTube thing, it's just like Instagram and everything else. I've literally told the top accounts what to say. I'm back there shooting. I'm telling them what to say. I knew that people enjoy authenticity. So you go, what happens if you don't have anything to hide? You don't do no lying, you know dogs. And basically, if I'm being honest, you also black. Black people are a trend. We're trending. And if you know how to utilize, my dad taught me that being black was a superpower. He said they're gonna always be afraid of you. I'm 6 foot, like 240 pounds. I'm not a small person, man. And I'm an honest 6 foot. So what happens is they're already gonna fear you. So he taught me to be educated, but not educated because of what the book says, even though I read a lot of books and wrote them a lot of papers, but he taught me to communicate effectively and the importance of clarity. And if you didn't know, he literally said, shut the fuck up. That's how it went. Those were the rules. So now when you speak, you have to have something to say. You have to have
Right.
something to say, my friend. And people will either connect to it or they won't. But now I'm like, can an 11-year-old understand what I'm saying? For the most part, yeah. And if I can speak to an 11-year-old, everybody else will understand. Now I can tell you even about the knee, femur tibia, medial meniscus, what the meniscus does, lateral ligaments. I could tell you the synovial. I could tell you exactly what's going on in your knee, or I could just tell you, look, make sure when you do a squat, your knee never moves. If it does, it's like a hinge on a door. If the hinge moves, the door no longer works. When your knee becomes a mover in any movement, you actually begin to degenerate it because of the way the meniscus and how it functions. But just think hinge. If the hinge on a door starts moving all over, the door becomes dysfunctional.
Right.
So you see what I'm saying? I read all the books that tell you everything in the knee, just to tell you don't move your knee.
Appreciate that tip, good brothers.
Yeah.
Hey, I will concede. Salute to y'all. I will be continuing to support you, good brother. And salute Rose. Thank you for having me on the platform, family.
You already know, family. You already know you have a spot here on the panel, brother.
Yes, sir. Peace and blessings. Y'all stay dangerous.
Likewise,
too, brother. Anything you want to tell any young breeders out there before even getting into this type of game?
My best advice is don't. If you see it as a get rich quick scheme, ain't nobody got rich trying to get rich. They got
Right.
rich building something that changed things. I've seen a lot of businesses succeed. I've seen a lot of businesses fail. I didn't get into the dog. As I said, we're educators. So we don't breed to be breeders. We breed to teach. And as long as we're teaching, we'll always be valuable. Our business model is set up on how much we can teach, how much information we can put out in real time almost. So if you're breeding and somebody told you you can buy a dog for $3,000, sell it for $10,000, they're lying. You will be sitting on dogs. I know people right now that'll give you a AKC, a registered dog with papers for $1,500 if you come get that motherfucker.
Right.
Because they're hurting. That COVID money, it's gone, which
It
is
is.
why you need to establish value. So if I was going to tell you, if you do feel you need to breed, then fall in love with it, man. You got to love every step, everything that's happening, everything that's going to happen to you, everything that's going to go wrong. You got to love it. If you don't love it, you won't last it anyway, and you'll be back at your job. And I would tell you, if you don't know what you're doing, definitely keep your job. Otherwise, you'd be out looking to rob somebody. My homie called me one time. He said, Trev, I'm in a personal recession. I'm finna rob somebody.
That's right. That's right.
And so that's my best advice, man.
My good brother Devon B said, thanks for having us live. I appreciate everybody that's here in the chat, man. I appreciate everybody that came through. Yayla One, my good brother Bully More Bullies. I appreciate everybody, man. Big Bro TV, T Lottie, Tony M. I appreciate every one of y'all that came through and showed y'all support, family. Y'all already know that's my motto, support your supporters. Make sure y'all like this video up, man. Make sure y'all get over there. Man, let them know where they can find you at on all platforms.
Fitbully TV, man. I mean, Fitbullykennels and My Dog Tools on TikTok. Eventually the business that will protect all the businesses, My Dog Tools and My Dog Subs. But objectively, Fitbullykennels on IG, My Dog Tools on TikTok, and then Fitbully TV on YouTube. So
I appreciate you for giving me your time too, brother.
likewise, my man. Look, you have a good rest of your day, all right?
You too, good brother.
All right, peace.
Peace. Y'all already know, man. Y'all right there. That's it right there, man. Go ahead, like this video up, you feel me? Go ahead, share it to a friend, share it to another friend. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to stay updated on all our new uploads. Hey, with that being said, man, it's your boy Samaje from Rose Kennels Behemoth Bloodline. Make sure you contact me on Facebook, Instagram, Rose Kennels Behemoth Bloodline on all platforms, you feel me? Hey, here goes something for y'all special, man.
You wild, boy.
Niggas cannot fuck with us. Get your muscle up. Niggas always play talking, they got they funny up. Tell them get their money up. They wanna rump with us. You gon' need 100 hands to try touching us. But niggas ain't for real though. Ain't getting real though. Niggas actors, little brother gon' shoot the film for him. R.I.P. Yanni, when I blow, I'm popping steals for you. High tech, tricks and walk hard, make me feel normal. Niggas can't afford shells. How they gon' post bill? Finna bring the switch out, cause it's so real. Leaving niggas in the streets like they roadkill. If it's up, we track the ops like Kill Bill. But I'm a good fella. Yo, bitch, told on double R, cause I'm a jug better. Out of bag or a bitch, I touch the 13th letter. That's the end for the bitches that don't understand it. K-bullets flipping through a home that's gon' do damage. Gang some cold hustlers, playing in the pack, something like the Guzman brothers. Plugged in with me though, he give me low numbers. I can take a nigga hands like he stole something. Tell them niggas do better. Whole team fresh, bitch like some new leather. Whole think she hot shit, but I'm too clever. She in her feelings, not a bag, I can't understand it. Niggas cannot fuck with us, get your muscle up. Niggas always play talking, they got they funny up. Tell them get they money up, they wanna rump with us. You gon' need 100 hands to try touching us. Niggas ain't for real though, ain't getting real though. Niggas actors, little brody gon' shoot the film for him. R.I.P. Yanni, when I blow, I'm popping steals for you. High tech, tricks and walk hard, make me feel normal.